This is Season 3 of The Score, the Team Roping Journal's regular podcast, where the team roping world talks. We've told the stories of some of the greatest cowboys, horses, and moments in the sport, and we're so far from done. In 2020, we'll bring you more of what you've come to expect, like interviews with the best cowboys and cowgirls we know, and we'll dive even deeper into subjects you care about. Look for more audio editions of the Team Roping Journal stories you might have missed in print, and learn about the great horses shaping the sport and great challenges facing our industry. All this and more in 2020. I'm Chelsea Schaefer. Berg is a larger-than-life personality in the Western industry. He's a staple, and he's helped shape the sport from the back of the Cactus Rope shop in Pleasanton, Texas. Barry's famous for foot races, good ropes, and good times, as well as a few catchphrases and a pretty tough heading game, too. In this episode, we're going to cover a whole lot of history and a whole lot of fun, and I can't wait for you to hear it. You're going to learn about the future, Cactus's new core rope, and the 30 years of technology that's gone into its creation. There is no one like Berg, and I'm excited for you to hear today's episode. We'll get right to it. Before we get started with today's episode, we've got to thank our sponsors at Cactus Ropes. Check them out at cactusropes.com and stand by for the middle of this episode where we take a commercial break and I will tell you more about the future. Hey, Barry. You got to say hi back.
Oh, what's happening?
They can't. It's a podcast, so they can't see you nod and smile at me.
Oh, yeah, gotcha.
That's how this works. So yeah, quiet responses don't work out on the podcast, but you're good. Well, I've known you for almost 10 years now, and I think this is actually the first time I've ever interviewed you. We've never said you just yell at me if I mess something up, but we don't normally sit down for an interview.
Well, it's funny that you say that because I remember, I guess about 10 years ago, and Larry D told me that you were the smartest person in the industry, and I'm like, I always thought I was the smartest person in the industry, but really said she really propped you up high, and we've never been disappointed, I promise.
You have been disappointed. I think the first time I ever interacted with you, I ran your rope price $5 higher than everybody else's on a page about ropes. And you called and yelled at me, and I was scared to death because I didn't know who Barry Berg was and why he was calling and yelling at me. But you let me have it. I took it. I remember very distinctly. I took the price off the website, and it was like a markup, so your retailers look better or something. But my goodness.
Oh my goodness! Do you think I was in the wrong or was I in the right?
You were in the right. You
Okay,
were in
thank
the right.
you for that.
Yeah,
Okay.
you yelled at your marketing director too because you blamed it on her. You thought she gave me a higher price, but she didn't at the time. Anyway, I remember it. I remember every time I've messed up, I think. I don't let those.
From what LD says, it's not much.
Well, I'm glad at least LD has faith in me. I appreciate
Well, we
it.
all love you.
Thanks, Barry. All right. So tell me, before we get into everything I want to talk to you about today, tell me, how did you end up in South Texas working at Cactus Ropes?
Long story, but I was raised in the feedlot industry. And I was trained to rope by feedlot cowboys, and to this day, all they ever bought was medium soft heel ropes, and they headed with them and heeled with them. And I thought that's how it's supposed to be, so I never could catch with one anyway. So long story short, I went to college, and I met some people, and they introduced me to probably the number one thing in my whole life was to meet the Stevensons. And Jack Stevenson, I got to live with him in 1988 until he started the rope company in 1991. And then I didn't go directly to the rope company, although I was there the first day. Nobody remembers, and we dug post holes and stuff. And I'm like, I'm getting myself back to North Texas. This is gonna be bad. So anyway, I went back home, and when they first started Cactus in '91, and I worked at a feedlot, and they hired somebody, and Rob, Jack's son, he's still there. Superstar in the industry. He called me about once a week. Hey, come back. Let's do this rope company thing. So on July 15th of 1992, I went back, and I guess the rest is history. And it's been an incredible, gifted journey for me.
Now, tell me about the ropes you were making back in 1992.
Oh, it's so crazy. We bought a rope machine from Neil Love, and he gave us about 22-minute lesson on how to make ropes, and we took it to South Texas. And and about 5 years later, we learned how to make a rope, and we were trying every day. So we literally finally, it's funny that we made 2 ropes. Well, first we made a rope, and we just called it nylon. And we made a
Catchy name.
yeah, made ropes called nylon. Then all of a sudden we had a good idea, put some poly in it, and we called it blend. And so we had a nylon and a poly blend. And then we decided Mike Pylan, he was general manager there and owner, and he decided we were going to put it in a catalog or a magazine, or we were just going to try to advertise. But they said, well, you can't advertise nylon and poly. You got to have a name. It's like, we got to have a name. So we named our. It's funny that, and I'm going to tell this, even though it kind of sounds arrogant or something, but I didn't do it. I'm just going to tell the story. I was all the time trying to make me a rope that I could actually catch with. So every time we waxed was about every 4 or 5 days, because it took me. I was the only rope man. I was the only one on the machine, and I don't even know why I was making ropes, because we didn't know how to do them. And so I would make 6 ropes for me, and they'd go through, and I'd just put my name on there. Well, the guy that was tying the tails, he started writing bad boy on them for my ropes, and which I thought it was cool back then. I wanted to be some sort of bad boy anyway. And so then whenever we decided to start marketing the rope, we needed a name, and Mike's like, man, well, we don't have any names, so why don't we just name the first rope Bad Boy? And that's basically how the first rope came, and then we named the blend Omega, and that's what we did for several years. And then in 1996 was when Alan Bach came on board as an owner with Mike and Joe Matthews and of course Jack. And we knew how to make a rope then, and it was a good rope. And I remember Alan had won the world in '95, I think, and then he came in '96 in January to see if he wanted to be a partner, and we had laid out a medium soft, a medium, a hard medium, and a medium hard. And I remember to this day he swung them all, and he said. He said, these are incredible ropes. He said, I literally could win the world with any one of these 4. And of course, me and Rob was pretty excited about that.
That's awesome. Do you remember what was the first world title won with the Cactus Rope? Is that a bit of trivia I'm going to put you on the spot with?
Well, I wish you wouldn't ask me, and I'm pretty sure Rich won a world championship, his first with our rope. And he also won the Bob Feist with our rope that 96, 97, 98, I think. So anyway, it's been a long time.
You've been a lot of world titles won since then, so it's fine.
But we've had Rich, we've had Alan, we've had Trevor, we've had Nick Sartain, which is an incredible year, and we've had Chad Masters and twice, and
twice.
Yeah.
He has 2.
Yeah. And Sherwood, thank you for that. And see, this is where I should have put some notes down, but I definitely.
You're good. No, I wasn't meaning you had to list them all, Barry. But
yeah. Oh, I love these guys, and when I tell you that I've learned something from these guys. Incredible guys with passion and no sissy, and just never blame the rope. Want to understand the rope,
I think one of the things that I admire most about you is the absolute sheer excitement and passion you have. We happened to be in the same hallway at the South Point last year in 2018, and I was passing you headed back to my room, and you were leaping like a little leprechaun man, because Nick Sartain had just won more money than he's ever won in his career. That was awesome.
Incredible time. He had came to the rope company, and he was going to heal. He had cut his thumb off. I remember the day I heard it. And when I want to tell you about a warrior,
Yeah.
and so he came to get his ropes for Vegas, and he had a plan, and when it came full circle, I was ecstatic.
And something that we've talked about personally a few times is that the ropes. It wasn't an accident that those ropes worked and won for Nick in Vegas last year. Tell me about what you've kind of discovered and done with your ropes in the last few years that made the cold desert of Las Vegas and your ropes work in that kind of climate.
Well, good question. The things we have learned, and I told Katie Rice about this. We learned something last week. We learned something last month. We're going to learn something next week, and I promise you, what we've learned when we literally, the best week of the year, the best 10 days of the year is Las Vegas. So why wouldn't you want your ropes to be perfect there? It's the biggest showcase in the world. It's an incredible time, and of course, ropes are perfect that time of year. So when we made Thriller and Swagger and brought them to Vegas, oh my God, they were everywhere. They were perfect. Win, 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 everywhere. And from that moment till now, we literally doubled our knowledge. And it's like, well, what about these? Well, it's a knowledge we learned in manufacturing. And we had left, if you knew how little of what we had left into the rope that we are now understanding, and even and I'm not going to take an ounce away from the future because it's the best rope we've ever made. I can't imagine selling another rope besides this rope, but the manufacturing we learned with the future, we are now doing it in all of our ropes. So if you do a Pepsi challenge from Las Vegas to next Las Vegas, you're going to feel it and you're going to understand it. We, with Katie, we decided we wanted to market First Swing all year. And it's funny how many times I've heard First Swing, not even telling the people about First Swing. But through manufacturing and raw material change, we've found out that we control the first circle based on manufacturing. And what we had left on the table prior to the future was a very tiny thing, but unless you compare it to the future, you won't feel it. But your robot was always searching, and until you called the rope perfect, it literally, you had taken some stretch out of it. What we learned with the future and with the gift of the raw material change, the first circle, the first swing, the first circle is so pure that it's inevitable you will rope better.
Is it top secret what the raw material change is?
It isn't. I don't think it's top secret, and everybody's going to know it. I just don't want to announce it, But it's just I don't want to announce it on a podcast because at Cactus we're all paid by performance, So here I am on a podcast giving all of our secrets away, and my coworkers, they're going to punch me right in the nose when I get back home. But I literally want to say it's different. We weren't going to. Everybody's like, you need a new rope. Well, we need a new idea. We loved our old rope, but is there something better? Well, yes, there is, and we found out, and we have incorporated it in all of our ropes. But
you did. So
yeah, oh yeah.
Gotcha, I didn't know
but
that.
not with the raw material necessarily, but with the manufacturing. And we spent money on an idea, and the crew very passionate. Their ideas all came full circle, and it really made a perfect circle, if you know what I mean.
So explain to me more about why the first swing is so important. I mean, what's it hurt to just go out and swing it a couple times?
Yeah,
why
good question. Good
First swing
question.
got to be better.
And this is a very good question, actually. I have a swing that I have so many excuses for. And my first swing is not exactly good. And LD, I was talking to LD about it earlier. And I've talked to Trevor about it. Of course, my excuses, I'm always swinging sideways. at the factory, because I'm testing stiffness all day long, and I don't turn it over there because there's no reason to turn it over. It's not even coiled yet. It's on a sawhorse, and I'm checking stiffness. So that's my excuse when I come across the line. My first swing is like I'm in a rope factory or something. But the identity of the first swing, bottom strand and tip, how obvious and unique, and it's not exactly weight, it's definition. That will literally fix your swing in the first swing, or even by the second swing you're ready to
So
throw.
even your first swing is crisp with this new rope?
Well, I'm not going to brag about my first swing like I brag about everybody at all of our people,
Yeah.
or about anybody. I like when the kids, the homeschool kids, which I love them all, they come to Cactus and Rope. I'm like, I love your first swing. Your first swing is perfect, but the confidence that comes with a perfect first swing, and the understanding of why and when, and is so important to your consistency and your ability to improve. And we literally, with the future, the identity and the distinct identity of it is going to help everybody's first swing.
Now, my favorite thing that I did in Las Vegas this year was have breakfast every morning with Mike Pylan. And one of the things he told me, I said, "How's the future coming? Is it close?" And he said, "Yeah, but I think Barry and Trevor are going back and forth about the weight a little bit." Tell
Good
me about the
question.
weight of the future.
Well, I wanted, and I love to work with Trevor. And what he was at, we were upside down on the swagger, and I wanted him to do this size, and he wanted this size. And I think hindsight's 20/20. But had we known what we knew now, he did pick the right
He
one.
was
but,
right.
but in that time frame when he picked, I don't think he was right. But it still became our number one seller, head rope, number one seller, heel rope. It has a lot to do with him, of course. But the rope was perfect in January and February, March, and all that. And it's going to be better year-round now based on our manufacturing skills. But on this one, he went even further the other direction, which was a good idea. And so I'm going back and forth with him. I want the next size up. He wanted one down, which he had never had a rope this small. But it was because of the definition of the tip and the bottom strand that he wanted this rope. It has a unique weight. You can weigh the rope and it weighs more, but in diameter, it's the smallest rope he's ever used, and it's the smallest rope a lot of our people will use, but it's really not about diameter. It's about a distinct identity of what you feel on your first swing, second swing, third swing.
All right, before we go any further into the episode, gotta thank our sponsors at Cactus Ropes. Cactus Ropes has been one of the industry's leading rope producers for the past 25 years, and they're focused on creating specialized products for ropers just beginning to those winning world titles. Be sure to check out their new rope, The Future. It's a 4-strand rope with Cactus's core technology. It's a result of a year of testing and creating with the king of the cowboys, Trevor Brazil. Cactus used manufacturing practices to create perfect balance throughout the rope and an extremely identifiable tip. The Future is available at your local Cactus Ropes dealers and online at cactusropes.com now. I remember my husband and I were driving to a rope-in one day, and I made a comment like, I think Trevor uses a super soft or a super, he uses a really soft rope, right? Why does that lay of rope work for Trevor?
Well, for one, he's an incredible rope handler. But I'll tell you, he had asked me for an idea of a rope the year he won the world championship with Patrick, the first one. I made 10, and we missed them bad. Like, we were shooting for a stiff, super soft, extra soft, and we literally hit Noodle City. And so I told him about them. I said, we still called them. I'm not even going to send them. He said, I just send them. So I sent 5. I didn't even call the other 5. We sent 5. He used them at the NFR and won the world with it that year.
Yeah,
So,
my husband was like, no way he uses that softer rope. And I said, I will call him right now. He told me he does. And he said, he made some derogatory comment to my husband and made fun of him pretty good. But yeah, he said something real men can use that kind of rope or something like that.
Oh yeah. Well, he literally is. He's a perfect one that he changes with the times. He's a searcher for sure, and he's searching for something at all time. In the future, he's going to use the soft. He won a world championship with a noodle that was a mistake, and then he's used I'd say he's used a super soft explosion non-core. Non-core, he used super soft. When we added the core, he mainly became extra soft with a swagger and explosion, and then now with the future he's going to use a soft, and but it goes right in line with what we try to tell. The smaller the rope, the sharper you can be, if the identity of the two components is obvious.
Yeah.
And so that's why we think that he's going to use a soft moving forward.
Moving forward in his semi-retirement.
And his
semi-world title winning retirement. It's so annoying.
I will say this, and I've told all my people I love, and I love them all, and you know what I mean by love. I respect them all. We went for a photo shoot with Resistol, and while we were there, we were going to have the future there. And so, of course, we're all hungry, and we're working, and we're going fast, and he's photo shooting here, swinging ropes here, roping and dummy here. We're talking about diameter and weight and identification. And then I get to rope with him, which is incredible, and I had him a pin, and then I literally throw at a few heels, and I heel a pin. But then Tufts there, and a couple of more, and he's got the steer roping finals the next week, and so then they're tying his steer down, and then he gets back on the heel, and then he just sent for 30 tacos. He never gets off his horse. He's running the steer, comes back, somebody hands him a taco, and then he goes and runs another steer, and I'm like, me and Katie's over here going, 25 gold buckles, he won't even get off his horse for lunch, and that's, I'm not going to prop up Trevor on my podcast this whole time, but I want the world to know it's not an accident, and he's a worker, and I've learned so much from him.
We did a video and photo shoot for Cactus Ropes there in May last year, and Preston has to remind him to eat, Preston that works for him, and so I called and ordered some pizzas. The pizzas went to Roy's house, but then we did end up getting them back down. And he sat in the box scoring his horse, eating a pizza, just back and forth, scoring a horse. I was tired and hot, and I wasn't doing anything because it was hot in Texas. And anyway, yeah, you're not wrong. That's how he is. That's how he operates.
Yeah, pretty impressive for sure.
And now, Trevor isn't the only one on the Cactus Ropes team that's like family. You're very select. You don't have a huge, giant list of endorsers. You have just, only so many. How does somebody we get lots of letters from young kids asking about sponsorship. How does somebody get to that level that they become part of the family?
That's a good question. Thank you for that. If I say that one more time, that's a good question. I'll try to quit saying that. But
no, I like. Nobody ever tells me my questions are good. Thank you.
Well, I tell you, and really, it's a mutual passion for the product, and for the industry, and for the cowboy way of life. And in 1999, Dennis Carroll, he bought Cactus Ropes from Jack and Joe and Mike in 1999. I was going to fly to spend a week with Dennis, and to this day I'm so thankful. And I can remember a few of the conversations in the first lunch I had with Dennis, and we were at a sandwich shop in Cave Creek, and there was an old youngster over there with his granddad, and Dennis introduced me, and it was Riley Minor. and he was in '99. He I wish I would have known the numbers. He was either 9 or 12.
Yeah.
And Brady was in there somewhere. So, which I could figure it out if we had time, but we'll just go that he was 9 or 12. And of course, he was in the sandwich.
I bet he was 12 because I think
Okay.
him and I are almost the same age.
Okay,
so,
perfect. Okay, thank you for that. And so since I literally have been on the phone with him, even though I need to scrub his head every now and then for being silly, but he's a very good friend of mine, and I've learned a lot from him. And I probably talk to him once a week since 1999, and twice a week and 3 times a day sometimes. But that's how it all starts, and it starts with a mutual passion. I'll tell you a story. So many stories, and I know we don't have time, but Jake Long, and we of course he's an incredible healer, and we wanted to make him a rope so bad, and we made the Game Changer, and of course that year I think reserve world champion, and just of course we were a non-core company there, and the top 10 healers in the world are cores, and it's just like, and when you're on a rodeo road, people will brutalize you. It's your rope, and now that we know all the technology, they're not exactly wrong. Mm-hmm. The bounce in a non-core and the pureness of the swing with a core is true, but Jake, he fought through it and literally became one of the top 3, if not the top healer of the world during this time frame, when he was using a product that the world was telling him was not there. But it was and of course he became a very close personal friend of mine during this time because I knew what he was fighting. And it just probably led to strength of mind, And then when we became a core, I wanted him to transition, but the Game Changer was his rope, mm-hmm. and he wouldn't do it. And so right then, we were just like, I've got to push something that I know is going to grow Cactus Ropes. He's still trying. He had literally mm-hmm. fought off the core for all these years that had built his robot mm-hmm. to who it was. And some of his downtimes, I literally want to take some of the blame because of the mm-hmm. product, not because of a bad product, because of what it did to what I thought was a steel trap of a mind. Mm-hmm. And he's fighting through it, and he was telling me with the cord, the loop was doing something that he had never seen before. And he's a searcher, and he's mm-hmm. a passionate guy about his roping. And so we started, he said it did something that he had never seen before, I trusted him. I literally didn't trust him prior to that because I knew the rope was a step up in performance for the whole world. But then we started looking at the size of our eyes, and there was a slight wobble because our eyes were too big. With a non-core, you miss the eyes big. Mm-hmm. With a core, you miss the eyes small. And it's just something we had to learn. And right when, with a non-core and the big eye, his loop was closing, but with the same size eye and a core, there was a wobble there. And that wobble would cause him to slip a leg that he had never slipped. Mm-hmm. So right there, we went right back. We were bringing the eyes down, which literally helped us through. And I didn't give him credit at the time, and my bad. But the thing about it is, and it's a lot of them, and Jake and Chad and Matt Sherwood and Nick and Blaster, and I'm telling you, all of them, they're so passionate when they say something. And I ain't gonna lie, there's a lot of sissies in this industry. But,
You're not
and I'm not calling them sissies. I'm just saying, whenever when you ask how do you get there, I say, mm-hmm. well, for the most part, we've never had a sissy moment with the people that are and I've been a sissy, don't get me wrong, but the ones that I trust the most, as I don't have to weed through, is he being a sissy or is he being a cowboy, you know. So for the most part, my people are cowboys. I trust them, and that's about how it gets to that point.
I love that. That's like the best thing you can say about somebody, is that my people are cowboys. That's awesome. That's a really cool thing to say, Barry. Are any of your people as fast on foot as you?
No, oh, I will say this, yes, but they're not my people anymore. I fired them. No, not really. They fired me, actually. But in Mexico, I've always heard, oh my God, well, we took 8 cowboys to Mexico, and Jim Cooper was one, and that sucker smoked me down.
He did?
Yes, and he actually, I think he was eating a hamburger while he did it. It wasn't that bad, but he did outrun me pretty dang good. So.
Yeah.
But no, I've had some good races down the stretch, and I made Shane Sproul. Actually, I won 500 on Shane, but somebody backed him, so I didn't have to actually take his money.
Thank God
but
for that.
Yeah, but I actually, he said, I don't care if it's midnight or what, which I'm undefeated after midnight, actually. And so he says, I'm waiting till midnight. The next time you see me, I'm racing you again for my $500 back. So,
How did you become this foot racer?
Well,
Were you a track star in high school?
well, star's a strong word, but I did run track, and I had some good races, don't get me wrong. But I was pretty poor in college, and one night I rolled a lot of dice in college, and I had lost all my money. So I went out back, and my best friend Kelly Miller, he started getting foot races up, and I'd raced a lot. I'd raced, match raced a lot. But when Kelly and I got together, and we literally had a system on how he started us and all that, I could get the jump and I could finish pretty good. And I'd lost all my money rolling dice one night at they called it the Coyote Country Club in Lubbock. Went out back door, took my boots off, and won all my money back plus a lot. And somebody stole my damn boots that night. And so I went home barefooted, but I had a whole pocket full of hundreds by the end of the night.
So when you foot race, is it always barefoot?
Yeah, pretty much, yes.
In what kind of ground conditions? I'm a barrel racer.
I like arenas.
You like arenas?
Yeah, I'll tell you this. I was running a foot race in Laredo, and this is one of my good stories. And we were actually in a dice game with Kenny Leonard, and George Strait was there, and a few people, and we was rolling dice, and I got up pretty good. And there was a guy that worked at L&H Pack for Kenny Leonard, and he played safety at Baylor. And so pretty soon they came to me, and while I was going, he was 10 years younger than me at the time. And so there we was going to have a foot race. We was headed to the arena with the lights on. And I remember, and Billy Pops can tell this story pretty good. I was getting out of the truck, and I said, George, you still got the rights to pure country? And he said, I sure do. I said, well, you better bet them on me right now. I'm fixing to win this race. But I'm pretty sure I'd raced a little more than this fella, and he didn't quite make it to the end of the arena. And I won that race, and I come to find out George had bet against me, but I don't think he put the rights to pure country up there. But it was.
So we can blame you for there being no more George Strait team roping because you broke George Strait.
No, I don't know about that, but as long as we're on this podcast, I want an encore. I want an encore of the George Strait roping one time.
I know, right?
And George, you won't have to do any of the work. We will do all of the work, but we need one more time.
If George Strait listens to my podcast, I've made it. I hope he does. Somebody send it to him.
Okay, perfect.
Somebody text it to him. That's awesome. Barry, what else can we look forward to from Cactus Ropes? 2020, 2021, what do you got planned?
Oh, we got plans, and the crew's gonna love this because they're chomping at the bit for the next rope, just because of what we learned on this rope. But we're gonna ride this future for a while, but we're not gonna put Katie up against the wall like we did with this. We're gonna have plenty of time, plenty of time. We had the next rope, and I'm not. The future is an incredible rope, and we're here at Denver. And whenever you explain what the difference is and what you're going to feel is a tribute to our crew and the passion. And this rope is we're very excited about it. And the future is with what we learn every day and next week and next year, and is as a tribute to good endorsees, a good crew, and a good marketer.
Heck of a marketer.
Yeah, heck of a marketer. So anyway, so we're looking forward to that whole we're happy right now, I'll put it that way.
Awesome. Well, thank you, sir. Thank you for your time today. I appreciate it.
Perfect.
You
Thank
survived
you.
it.
Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you for listening. Thank you, Barry. Thank you, Cactus Ropes, for sponsoring this episode. I am looking forward to more shows like this one because I learned a ton. Cactus, y'all are amazing. You guys are a great crew. Thank you for sponsoring this episode. Make sure you check out cactusropes.com, follow Cactus Ropes on Facebook, and swing the future. That whole first swing concept, you will feel it as soon as you swing the rope. You will know what I'm talking about. Check it out, cactusropes.com.